Hello there. You are onto the Man-to-Man Session podcast. We raise kings to embrace their masculinity and amplify their influence in the society. Welcome. The Man-to-Man Session podcast is about to begin.
Hey guys, welcome to the long anticipated personal development and relationship series, specially organized for bachelors and husbands. The How I Met My Wife series. Welcome. This is the first episode of this series, and I have someone amazing here with me today. I mean, he was my classmate. We were classmates together back in high school. You know, personally speaking, right? This is exactly what it means when our father say your mates are getting married. The pressure is getting worse. Don't worry. Don't worry. I'm so glad to have him on the show. Yeah, he got married last year. Yeah, so it's time for him to show us the way. All right, so guys, with me here is let me he's now a married man. So with me here on the show is Uwem Usa. Welcome to the show, Uwem. Welcome. So let's jump right straight at it without wasting much time. You go straight to the point, and can you tell us how you met your wife and how you knew she was the right one?
Hi everyone, thank you for having me. I met my wife in 2019. That was May 2019. It's quite a funny story. I think I've said this about 50 times already because it's a very particular, it's a very common question that people ask about both of us. And I'll give the short version of the story here. So this is how we went down. It was a Friday. Just a boring, quiet Friday, and I was chatting with a friend. It was a joke, kind of, between both of us, and I told him to introduce me to someone. I was actually saying wife, but to be honest, at that point in my life, I wasn't thinking about anything like that. I was a few months away from going for my national youth service. So I wasn't being serious, and he knew that, so he went ahead with it. He introduced me to someone, and luckily for me, there was this amazing woman somewhere that was bored that morning and decided to play along with whatever was going on here, and we started talking. 2 months later, we were dating. It's interesting how just without being deliberate about it, it happened that way for us. We dated for 3 years and 6 months before she became my wife. For the second part of the question, where you asked how did I know she was the one, she was the right one. The first 2 years of our relationship, I didn't know. One, because my head wasn't thinking about marriage at that point. I knew it was somewhere in my future, but I did not know it was that close, in my future. So I didn't think about it. But I got to a point somewhere after my youth service and everything that I looked at my life and saw so many things had changed. So many, aspects of my life had gotten a total overhaul, kind of. But there was something that remained constant through all this, and it was this girl and the feeling that I had for her. the feelings that I had for her, it's a lot. And I looked at my future as well, and I saw the changes that could come, but I also wanted her to be part of that. It was a conscious decision. It's not something that kind of hits you. It was a conscious decision for me. And because we had dated for a while and I knew her knew who she was up to a certain extent, it was a very easy decision for me to say, I want to spend the rest of my life with you. So that was it for me. It hit me at first from looking at my past and my future and deciding that I want to be with this person for, the rest of my life. And also it was a conscious decision to do what needs to be done to make this person that I love so much to be a permanent thing in my life.
God, when? Please, where are all my friends? Where are you? Can we play a game? Please, all my friends, can we play a game? Can you introduce me to someone? Please, maybe my wife may be on your contact list. See, every single person, you need to play this game with your friends. If you don't have a babe in your life, if you don't have a woman in your life, go and play the game with your friend. Wow, this is very, very insightful. Really my takes from this is, know what you want in life, know who fits into your life's goal, and make that conscious effort to keep her when you find it. Beautiful. So, second question here. I think, and not just the fact that I think, I believe that money is a big deal as people feel you need to have money before you get married. Is it like a specific amount of money you must have before you get married?
A specific amount? I don't think there is a specific amount for you to have before you start thinking about marriage. A lot of people think, you need to be financially buoyant to, a certain extent before you think about marriage. But it all depends on you and the life you want to live. If the cost of your living is, let's say 200k a month, do you have something that consistently produces 200k a month, for the foreseeable future? You think about that. And also the wedding, how big do you want it to be? It all depends on you. You do not need a specific amount before you get married. And also, you need to be able to, provide some needs. So it's not like, you don't need money at all. You do need money. But in terms of the amount, it all depends on you and the type of life that you intend to live. That's just it. And also how big you want your wedding to be. No specific amount, basically. That's my answer.
A mind opener. You do not need a specific amount to get married. It's quite amazing how we have different men come on the show since last year, and they keep saying this exact same thing that you don't need a specific amount of money to get married. What might, at this point, I'm beginning to feel like me inclusive and every other young man who is not yet married and who is using money as an excuse. I feel like there's something deeper when we say we don't have money or when we say we want to have money before we get married. Wow. Well, guys, you've heard it. It's not from me. This is not the first time you're hearing it on this show. You don't need a specific amount of money to get married. But however, you need to be able to provide financial. Thank you, Uwem. All right, third question. Can you tell us how you have been preparing financially? Because I feel like we need to also, beyond just saying you don't need money, but can you tell us how you've been preparing financially for marriage? Because honestly speaking, I may not just be the only one thinking about it. I know that a lot of young men out there are also thinking about it. Like, this guy is so young. How has he been preparing?
Okay, in my previous answer, I talked about thinking about your cost of living and having a way to consistently pay for that cost of living for the foreseeable future. That's something that is factored into your financial preparation for marriage. Depending on the dynamic that exists between you and your wife to be, you might want to, think about providing for her needs. Is it 100% that you're providing for? Is it 80, 90%? Whatever the arrangement is between both of you, you figure it out. Or do you also have the arrangement where she provides for her needs from her own income 100% for herself, then you do yours 100%, and then you carve out, come together and figure out the things that you two have in common, like upkeep and maintaining your home and your children and things like that. Whatever exists between both of you is what you have to think about and prepare for. This can take you a long time to prepare for. It's like a long-term goal. You get your steady income in place. Not necessarily steady, but as steady as possible, because some of us are in businesses and things are not as steady as getting a monthly salary. So you get these things in place. You think about the wedding, how much goes into it, what is your budget, and also you have an allowance for unforeseen circumstances that could stretch that budget beyond what you originally planned. And you're also thinking about the extended family as well. In some instances, you would have families that chip in, and in some instances, you would be the one supporting, the extended family. Whatever exists between both of you, you have to prepare for this thing long beforehand. There are things you will make as a lump sum payments. You just paid once and that's it. And then there are the recurring payments that come in on a weekly basis, on a monthly basis. Try as much as possible to plan this out and figure out how much should you have to handle those big one-time payments and also handle the recurring payments that come after that. So when you have a plan for this, you won't be scared of the future that much. You won't be scared of marriage. It won't be frightful. It all depends on you and your specific situation and, how much your specific situation is demanding from you.
Nice. So I know that there are some of us, me inclusive, that even if we want to get married in like 2 years' time, we can already hear the voices of our parents in our head. You know what I mean, right? So, how did your parents react when you told them you wanted to get married? And how did you handle it?
I got married at a relatively young age, and for my parents, your parents will have an idea of how your life should go, and if you deviate from that path, you'll get some kickback. But it's not because they don't want you to get married. It's because they feel like they might be protecting you from something that looks like a mistake from their point of view. You understand? It's from a place of love. For me, that was how it went down. But when they see how well prepared you are for this big undertaking, they rally behind you and give you their full support like that fast. So if there is sufficient communication between you and your parents, and you have supportive parents that are not set in their own thinking and they are ready to be, their thinking is malleable. They can see your point and give you their full support, then you are a lucky person. I was lucky. in that aspect. I had my parents. Initially, there was this like, are you sure about this? And all that. And, oh, there are these things you should have done that you haven't done and things like that. But when they see that you getting married doesn't stop you from achieving those things, because you've already planned these things out. You're not running into these things because of feelings, because, oh my God, I love her so much, I can't, and all those things. You are making a rational, illogical decision. You know what you're doing, and you've planned things out. You are ready for any eventuality, because life isn't certain. They see that you are mature enough to address these things and even foresee them and make your contingency plans for those things. They can see, they would support you, because you are obviously showing signs that you can take care of yourself and take care of another human being. But if you don't have those things in place and you have parents who love you, they are going to oppose your decisions. And even then, you should ask them, what are those things that I would do now, or a certain way I will be thinking right now, that will make you support me in making these decisions? Also, there might be kickbacks from your parents with the choice of bride that you are making. I never had anything like that. The first time my parents met my wife, they loved her instantly. My wife is quite different from me. She brings this very sparkling and energetic vibe to every situation. I'm a calm, cool-headed kind of guy. She's more energetic and outspoken than me. So it was very, very easy for her to radiate that energy and win the love of my parents. So I didn't struggle there. I had their support.
Point taken. Don't get married because of irrational reasons. Thank you very much. Next question. After our parents, yeah, the next bridge we will cross is our future in-laws. Hmm. How did your, how did her parents rather, how did her parents react when you went to meet them? To tell them that you've seen the flower in their garden and you came to pluck it. And how have you been able to handle and manage them before and after the wedding?
In-laws are a very big issue in Nigeria, but I have been so lucky with the in-laws I got. I don't have any of those challenges. They've been awesome. They've been instrumental for both of us in the stages of life we've been going through, and I am very, very grateful for them. When I was 25 and I left my house with the blessings of my own parents to go and see my in-laws to be, I don't know where I got the confidence from to enter this man's house, sit down in his chair, look him in the eye and tell him, I want to marry your daughter. And nobody blinked, nobody flinched, nobody scoffed or anything. They were just supportive from day one. They told us, this is the next step, this is what you need to do, this. And they made this whole process very easy for us. There were some things there were special considerations they made for me, and they supported us through everything. It was so blissful. Even now, after the marriage, we talk almost every week, sometimes twice a week, and I got 2 new parents, and they've been helpful, they've been supportive. I don't have any complaints for in that aspect. It's been a mutually respectful relationship. You understand? I have in-laws that understand the boundaries of marriage, and you don't have to say, oh, this and that. They wait for you to say, this is a free road for you to enter before they make any move. You understand? They don't overstep any boundaries. They don't impose anything on you. It's lovely. I wish everyone is that lucky to have in-laws like I do.
There's a grace here right now, and I tap into it. And not just me, but I pray that every young man listening out there, they would also experience and enjoy supportive in-laws. Kai, thank you. Thank you. So Next question. I know that my little experience, right? My little experience in planning and organizing weddings cannot be compared to the life experiences of the groom before and after the wedding ceremonies. Can you share with us how you were able to handle everything from managing your family, managing her family, and all the demands that came with preparation?
My story is going to get very annoying to people who have gone through serious struggle to get to the point that I've gotten to, because it has just been easy breezy for me from day one, including the wedding. So in the planning and organizing of the wedding, I brought a lot of, my own contribution was bringing in the structure. I'm a big spreadsheet guy, so my wife loves planning, but she doesn't like the spreadsheet. I bring the spreadsheet, I bring the structure. We plan things out, we draw up budgets, we create tasks out of the entire wedding thing, and we assign them to people. She does the follow up and everything. So I played a very little role in this whole thing. My wife had a particular unique taste in how she wanted things to be. So we stuck to that. We didn't deviate at all. And my work was to, provide the support I could do financially to get my groomsmen ready to dress up, show up, and dance. It was easy breezy for me like that. So the planning of the wedding can be difficult, can be taxing, but it's always very, very important for you to show up for the bride. She's going through a lot during that time. So what you can do as the groom is to make sure you are providing support. You're helping her get through all the headache, and as much as you can, you have to step in to handle some things. I know men will see that the bride wants this, she wants that. She seems like she wants to handle everything by herself, but she'll actually love to get some support from you, for you to act like this is also your thing. If you don't do it, that's a complaint you hear. Act like it's also your wedding, and chip in, come up with your own ideas, insist on a certain thing that you want in to happen a certain way, and follow through to see that thing done. So the planning can be very taxing for you as a couple. There might be some disagreements, but as long as everything is coming from a place of love, you shouldn't be worried. Yeah.
Whoa. Uwem. Right now, right now, you're giving me goosebumps, and also you're making me feel like, oh Lord, like I'm so happy for you. At the same time, I won't even lie, bro. Like I'm like, Lord, can you give us, can you give us wives? Yeah, that will take away the burden during wedding. Please, does your wife have a sister? ah, God, no, no, like hearing this is hearing this. I won't even lie. Like I won't even lie. You know, hearing this makes me feel like can majority of the women out there just be like this, so that future grooms we won't even need to stress ourselves. We'll just be like you. The wife will just handle everything. We'll just come and marry. We'll just come, pay the money, marry her, and take her. Oh Lord, please give us wives that will take away the burden during the wedding. Yeah, but however, guys, no, like honestly speaking, like I'm happy hearing this. Like I mean, the wife just handles everything. We just show up, we dance, marry her, and go. Yeah, but guys, please, irrespective of who you marry, irrespective of this is not sacrosanct. This is not like written on stones, right? Women are different. If you're lucky enough to meet a woman like Mrs. Uwem, great. If you're not, great. But however, whatever the scenario is, guys, if you're listening to this, please, on your wedding day, show up, dance, and act like it's your wedding. Because I mean, I like I go to weddings and I see the groom, the wife is the one the wife is even dancing more than the groom. Not and most times not because the groom cannot dance, but because the groom is thinking of bills, he's thinking of paying this one, thinking of paying this one. Please, guys, act like it's your wedding. Okay, no matter what happens, please act like it's your wedding because it is. So yeah, next question, well, yeah. I recall how you and your bride, you were preparing us. You guys were seriously, intentionally, constantly, you know, peppering us with honeymoon pictures. And I was like, "Ah, God will, God will." Really. And there are some guys that still don't understand the concept of romance until they get into marriage. And they realize that, come on, it's not just about sex. It's not just about sex, 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 going several rounds. You know, can you tell us, you know, what exactly is romance in marriage, especially from the day of honeymoon?
Okay, this is something that is quite critical, and you would have to learn because romance for one woman might not mean the same for another, but to a certain extent, there might be a common denominator that all women share. You hear a lot of talk about love language, that might be the foundation for all these things, but I don't think that people stick to one love language and they don't care about the other ones. Everybody wants all of them, so you provide all of them. Romance is all about speaking those love language, spending quality time, doing acts of service, words of affirmation, giving her gifts. All 5 of them. Show up and do those things. You would realize that these things come naturally to you when you are chasing a woman. Where that point where she isn't yours yet, but you want her to be yours. There are things you would do to get her. The thing is, once you get the girl, you tend to just relax. It happens to even the best of us because that's how we are. The brain doesn't want to do too much work. So if something seems insignificant to you, you will not do it by default. So you have to teach yourself that it is significant that every single day you are showing your wife affection, adoration, and appreciation every single time. That's just romance. It's not, romance is also living what you're doing and joining her in the kitchen and just gisting, cutting onions, and just occasionally just playfully touch her here or there, splash some water in her face. If she's someone that can take that as a joke though. you have to do the things that make the other person feel happy and appreciated. That's romance, and that has worked for me.
Ooh la la! Wow! Go and cut onions. If I didn't take out anything, I took that go and cut onions. ah, kai. All right. Next question. What does it mean to be mentally ready for marriage? And what can we do?
Everybody's going to have their own unique definition of what it means to be mentally ready for marriage. But you would find that no matter what your definition is, when it comes time for you to, take that big step, you will not be 100% ready. If you're 100% ready, you've probably waited for too long. That's my opinion. It's not something that someone like Socrates or Aristotle said. It is my opinion. So, to be mentally ready for me is you think about opportunity cost, the things you have to let go of to create a life with someone else. A lot of people don't let go of a lot of things, or they struggle with letting go of things. But if you can let go of those things, then you are already there. Why do you have to let go? Because when we hold on to things, we keep being the person that in most cases isn't suited to be someone else's husband. For example, you might be someone who loves your football, and if you're watching football, no one can disturb you. Nobody can talk to you. Someone might be dying next to you and you will not move an inch to help. You would have to let go of that. You would have to move your wife and being a good husband up your priority list to number 2 after God, which is going to be your number 1. If you can't do that, then I believe that you are mentally ready. This is not just some mental gymnastics you play. These are actual things you do. And then you watch yourself to see if your actions are a reflection of you having changed your mindset. When you've done that, then you can tell yourself you're mentally ready. If you've done these things, which are the foundational aspects of being mentally ready, the rest are things you would learn easily because you have decided to be a good husband. That's it.
Ooh, you dropped it like it's hot. If you're 100% ready for marriage, you waited too long. Ha! That's bond. That bond. Wow. Mm. Nice. Thank you. Next question. Some some men don't realize that their spouse is different from them. So they make the mistake of, expressing love the way they know without learning about how she wants it. Like, it's like you now, you're loving your wife like you want to be loved rather than loving her the way she wants to be loved. You know, what can we do to be emotional? Because trust me, most men we use the excuse that women are emotional beings and men are logical beings. And we forget that the concept of being emotional and logical is that we have a left and a right brain, which one part is emotional, the other part is logical. So the statement that men are more and women are more is a statement of usability. So because the women have used their emotional part of their brain doesn't mean that they are not logical. And the fact that men have used the logical part of their brain doesn't mean that we don't have an emotional side as well. It's a function of usability. So, what can we do to be emotionally ready for marriage?
You ask questions. That's simply what you do. If you go to a new city and it's a place you're not familiar with and you're looking for a hotel, you'll ask questions and you'll follow those answers to find what you are looking for. So if you are someone that hopefully the destination you want to take your wife to is happiness, then you would ask questions on how you can get there. So you ask your wife, what do you have to do to make her feel happy, or to make her feel more appreciated and things like that. Whatever she's saying that she doesn't have, or hopefully you don't get to the point where she's complaining about it, but just ask her when everything is all nice and sweet between both of you, and you listen. You take those directions and you implement those things in her life, in your life together as a couple, and that's it. It doesn't have to be difficult.
Nice. So another one here. How did you know it was time? Like, how did you know it was time for you to get married?
Mine is a unique case. For me, it was just looking around me and asking myself, what exactly is stopping you from getting married? And I didn't have an answer to that question. Also, I've always been someone that I told myself, if I get to that point in life and everything is in place for me to get married, I will get married. I will not waste, any time about it. So everything got in place for me and there was nothing holding me back. So I went ahead with it. And those things that got in place for me are a lot of factors, emotional factors, mental readiness, financial readiness, having the partner who was also ready and is the right fit for me. So a lot of things just came in place and there was nothing holding me back. And I just went ahead with it. That was it for me. It can be different for the next person. Maybe you have different priorities or different criteria that are prioritized differently. So you would make a different decision than I did. Just think about what's important to you. And if you have those things in place, what exactly is holding you back?
This is one question I'm definitely going to ask myself. What is stopping me from getting married? Right. So yes, you need to actually ask yourself that question. Ask yourself really, what's stopping you from getting married? Anna, what's stopping you from getting married? Akanifiok, what's stopping you from getting married? Clement. I'm just mentioning random names. If you know what I mean. What's stopping you from getting married? Really, what's holding you back? Right, next question. Not just next question, but really. Finally, yeah, as we draw the curtains closer, what are your last words for all the men out there? The single guys and the married men. What do you have to say to every bachelor out there, every married man out there?
Okay, for married men, I would say listen to your wife. Normally, when you hear the word listen, you think, if someone is speaking, you listen. But this goes beyond verbal listening. I'm talking about listening to body language, listening to what your wife responds to. You take an action and she responds, she reacts. What is that reaction? Are you attentive enough to know how she's reacting to the things you are doing, the things you are saying, the decisions you are making? It's very easy for us men to get distracted. And it's not being distracted by bad things. It's being distracted with something as good and as reasonable as work. You can get so engrossed in work that you forget that you are not paying attention to your life. Your wife is your life. If you're not paying attention to that, the quality of the actual thing that matters in your life will drop. So, pay attention to your wife. Listen to her. For single men, I would say you should put a lot of focus into developing yourself to become a better leader. If you were a leader, if you were a general of an army, would you follow you to war? That's something you should ask yourself. Say you were promoted to a general now, and at the same time you are also a soldier that is stationed under that general. That general directed you to follow him to war, to fight to the death. Will you follow that general? If your answer isn't yes, then you should focus on developing yourself to that point where you're making noble decisions and you're doing things that are right most of the time. And you are very purposeful and deliberate about where you're headed in life. Once you get to that point, once you get to that thinking, you are not too far from being a good father and a good husband. That's my last word. Thank you for having me. It was a pleasure to have this conversation with you.
Wow, I'm happy we did this. I'm really, really happy we did this. To the married men out there, remember, your wife is your life. Your wife is your life. Listen to her. To every single man out there, build leadership. One question you should ask yourself is, would you follow you? Thank you very much, Uwem. My regards to your wife, definitely. Thank you for being on the show. We really, really appreciate it. Thank you for taking out the time to pour out this wisdom for marriage out for every single man out there. Thank you for being on the show today. So, guys, we've come to the end of today's episode. Next week promises to be another amazing time. We will be having someone so amazing to me. That is Mr. Abel Ajayi. You don't want to miss his session. He also got married last year to a lovely, beautiful young lady. Yeah, you don't want to miss out. Alright, guys. See y'all next week. Ciao.